So I still believe that there was not the Podesta email leak. And I believe so far, the majority of it has been like kind of weak tea. But there's one particular email that, well, before I even go to that particular email, regardless of the emails being weak tea and the speeches being weak tea, the reaction from Hillary positive media and the reaction from the players, the party, has been so reactionary. They've reacted as though it is traumatic, right? They've gone full propaganda. Like, this is totally Putin. And they've even floated out that the emails were inaccurate when in actuality, the leaks rather were inaccurate, when nothing inside of the leaks itself are inaccurate. So you either had people who are just going full propaganda to try to suppress any negative press about it, or you had those who completely ignored it. Now, those two stories are stories in itself. Their reaction to these emails and to these speeches has been ridiculous, and it's been obscene, and it has undermined, once again, right? No surprise, it has undermined their journalistic integrity, if they have any left at all. Now, that's my opinion of the majority of the emails and the leaks and the speeches. There's one particular email that Hillary wrote to John Podesta in 2014, and I just want to read the quote here for you, where she said, "We need to use our diplomatic and more traditional intelligence assets to bring pressure on the governments of Qatar and Saudi Arabia, which are providing clandestine financial and logistic support to ISIL and other radical Sunni groups in the region." So this is Hillary Clinton writing to her campaign manager, John Podesta, conceding that Qatar, yes, and Saudi Arabia, ding, 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 are providing material, clandestine financials, and logistic support to ISIS. Yet and still, the Clinton Foundation, I mean, not even just the Clinton Foundation, right? The Clinton Foundation, cozy, receiving millions upon millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, but the United States of America maintains this partnership with Saudi Arabia, involved in their war against Yemen, knowing full and well that not only did Saudi Arabia have fingerprints and footprints in 9/11, but they also have connections to ISIS. I said it last week, and it's worth mentioning again. When we talk about a nation's interest, any nation, I don't care what nation, there's nobody we won't go to bed with in order to get something done that we deem necessary. And this is the perfect example. I'm not 100% sure, and I just really haven't taken the time to research it. So maybe our project for next week would be, why do we still tolerate any relationship with Saudi Arabia? What benefit do we get from Saudi Arabia that we could not get from another partner in the region? Because for us to still be in bed with them, with their involvement in 9/11 and their involvement with ISIS, per Hillary Clinton, realistically, our next president of the United States, we fully know this, and yet we still have this commitment to them that is, at this point, perverse. So John Brennan, speaking at a 9/11 memorial and museum in New York, he recently called the Saudis among our very best counterterrorism partners globally. All right, Tony Podesta, John Podesta's brother, he's a Washington lobbyist and head of the Podesta Group. He was paid $140,000 a month by the Saudi government, a fee through the end of 2016 as a consultant. $140,000 a month. 15 of the 19 hijackers on 9/11 were Saudi citizens. I mean, We got some splaining to do here. Yes, Hillary Clinton has some splaining to do. The Podesta group, they have some explaining to do. But the United States of America has to explain this commitment to Saudi Arabia that transcends them funding and being connected with 9/11 and funding our current enemy, ISIS. If you already know the answer as to why, I mean, to me, because at some point, I always reduce it down to everyone is a rational actor. I honestly do not believe, and maybe it's naive, but I don't believe that people are irrational in the sense that they are going to do something that's against their own best interest. Now, Hillary's best interest clearly conflict with my best interest in a lot of ways, right? But at the end of the day, she's maintaining this relationship with them for a positive gain for her. She's not maintaining this relationship to her detriment. I don't think that even if they were blackmailing her about something, it's still a calculated decision to maintain this relationship through the Clinton Foundation. The United States of America as a whole, likewise, we're maintaining this relationship with them because we think it's a net positive. I'm just curious as to what the hell is that net positive at this point? One that we know that they have connections with terrorism. They are a state sponsor of terrorism I'll just say it, hyperbole or whatever, state sponsor of terrorism. And yet we consider them a partner against terrorism. What is the net positive that we get from Saudi Arabia that we could not get from another partnership in the region? That if we can answer that question, then we can understand why we're willing to tolerate this sponsor of terrorism and still consider them an ally while we fight terrorism. But that was the most significant email that came out of the bunch, in my opinion, because that really puts a transparent light on the reality that we knowingly get involved with regimes that are not just detrimental in their region, they're detrimental to our national interests on some level. And I'm just, again, to restate it and to be redundant, what do they benefit our national interests such that we maintain a partnership with them?